What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Piranha 2, The Spawning. So this was a first time watch for me. The only movie that I've seen in the entire Piranha franchise is the first one. And, if you all have seen my last video, I said I was a pretty darn big fan of that movie. So in terms of the sequel, I was not really a fan. I don't know. This movie didn't really do it for me, and that's a little bit unfortunate because I was actually really excited about it. You got the whole James Cameron connection, and then for some reason now the piranhas are flying, and they're just hanging out on land, flying around, biting people in the throat. So that's pretty darn cool. I thought, hey, this seems like it might be a little fun time. But yeah, I did not enjoy this movie that much, especially compared to the first one. The first one was just so much better, and this just, I don't know. It didn't do it for me. But anyways, let me flex the DVD. If you got the DVD, you gotta flex it. That's kind of a cool cover. And then I don't know if you can see that if that's in focus. It's probably backwards too on the camera, but it says directed by James Cameron. That's the whole idea of James Cameron directing this. It's hard to explain. Like he did technically direct it, but there's conflicting there's conflicting stories of, did he direct the whole thing? Did he not direct the entire movie? Was he fired after 2 weeks? I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, though. Get into the whole story, but the story around it is really interesting. And then you got the back, and then you got, that's Lance Henriksen right there. So I mean, he's the homie. He's always popping up in random horror movies. He's in, like, of course he's in the first Pumpkinhead, and he's in some of the sequels, and he'll just pop in random stuff. He's in, like, Hellraiser 8. I think Hellraiser 8 is it Hellworld? But yeah, I think he's in that one. I saw that. I've only seen that once, but he popped up in that. He'll pop up here and there. He'll be like, hey, it's Lance Henriksen. What's up, man? But anyways, let me get back into the review here. So I'm gonna give you all a little plot summary. Okay. This movie takes place at a tropical resort, and there's this scuba diving instructor, and she takes her little class of scuba divers out, and they find this dead body, and she's freaked out because she's very well versed with marine life, and I like to talk with my hands. But anyways, she's very well versed with marine life. She knows what a shark attack victim looks like, what a stingray victim looks like, whatever. So she's like, yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know what attacked and killed this gentleman. So anyways, she's trying to uncover the case. She's like breaking into morgues with credit cards, and she's trying to crack the case. She's doing some, like, vigilante style detective work. I don't know if that sentence even made sense, but I don't know. She's just like, doing some detective stuff, but on the down low. Like, she really shouldn't be. But anyways, her husband is the police chief, played by Lance Henriksen, and he's also trying to solve this murder. And then basically, her husband, I mean, not her husband, her this guy that she's having an affair with, he later on in the movie reveals that he was involved with the original project to make the genetically engineered piranhas, and that's the reason he like took her scuba class, because he was trying to, you know, investigate, see if the piranhas were still out there, and he wanted to contain them and kind of make sure that they didn't get set loose and kill everyone. So, you know, these three individuals are trying to stop these piranhas, and then, you know, the piranhas are just, they're on the loose, they're attacking everyone at this resort, killing people, and these three individuals are trying to stop them. So that is the basic plot. So we're gonna jump into this little James Cameron story here. So, okay, this movie is kind of famous for the fact that it's technically James Cameron's directorial debut, lay blue cheese. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm losing my marbles today. But anyways, it's technically James Cameron's directorial debut. But yeah, I gotta enunciate on here, cause I'll just be butchering words like I'm like some, you know, kindergarten kid who just is learning how to, you know, spell or something. I don't know. But anyways, it's technically his directorial debut, but it could be argued that it's not, and that Terminator is, because there were some issues on set where James Cameron did not get along with the executive producer. The executive producer was this Italian guy. He didn't speak English, and he hired like a whole Italian crew. Nobody spoke English, and James Cameron was given like absolutely no creative control during production, and then he was given zero control over the edit. And it's speculated that James Cameron, since he was butting heads with the executive producer, he was fired after 2 weeks, and the executive producer took over directorial duties. But it's also speculated that James Cameron, he was there for the entire shoot, but he just didn't, he just wasn't involved in the edit. So there's conflicting ideas. And then there's stories where like James Cameron tried to sneak into the edit, like he tried to like break into the editing bay and cut his own version of the film, but like nobody knows. These are all just stories. Like I don't think James Cameron has talked about it extensively, or anyone else. So it's just hearsay. Nobody really knows. But there's this story that he actually went to Italy, I believe, to try to you know, edit his own version of the film before it was released, and basically when he was there, he became very ill, and he had this, while he was there, he had this dream. He like it was like a literal fever dream. Like he was super ill, and he dreamt up the exoskeleton of the T-1000. Like he dreamt up like the exoskeleton of the Terminator while he was having some fever dream trying to go edit Piranha 2. So that's a pretty darn cool story. But yeah, you got to get into the James Cameron stuff because it's so interesting, the story around this. In you know, my vision of it, I'd like to imagine that he was breaking into the editing bay, and he cut his own version, and it's out there somewhere. Like you know, I imagine James Cameron got a credit card like the scuba instructor in the movie, and he busted open the door, and he was posted up in the editing room, and then he cut his own version of the movie, and it's on film or VHS somewhere, and it's just like in a Ziploc bag floating in some river in Italy right now. Like that's what I would like to imagine. But I don't know. I'm probably wrong. He probably never broke in. He seems like a stand-up guy, so he probably didn't even do that. So I don't know. But anyways, let me get into some other points here. So I don't have that much to talk about this movie, but this is something I got to talk about. Okay, um, I expected this movie to be way more fun than it was. This is a movie about flying mutant killer piranhas. Okay, I expect it to be fun. It's a outlandish, crazy, silly premise. I want it to be, you know, maybe have some funny moments. Maybe have some, likable characters. The 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 characters in this movie, I didn't care about them. The characters in the first movie, in the first Piranha film, were so likable that I don't know. They were likable, relatable, fun, funny at times. The characters in this, they played it so straight. It's a movie about flying mutant killer piranhas, but they were just like so serious the whole time. It's like, dude, this movie is not that serious. This movie is like kind of silly, but it could have been like really cool if maybe we threw some funny moments in there. Maybe we have some over the top action. Like it was just bland. It was like whatever. Um, yeah, and there were like no fun moments. I did not care about these characters. Like I loved the characters in the first one. The main girl, I think her name was Maggie. She was awesome. She was badass. She was like witty. I like that one guy. I think his name was Paul Grogan. He like the alcoholic guy. He was awesome. He was just sipping drinks on the reg. He was kind of fun. The characters in this were just, they were like cardboard. They were lame. Even though I like Lance Henriksen, his character was kind of boring. So yeah, the characters were boring, and there just weren't many fun moments. In the first movie, there would be, they broke it up. There were some jokes here and there, like, you had the kid with the arrow, like the fake arrow through his body, like pulling pranks. You had that wacky like camp counselor character, and then Paul and Maggie would like joke with each other a little bit, and there was a lot of like intense action-packed moments. In this, there weren't that many, except at one point, Lance Henriksen's character just like bails from a helicopter and it explodes. That was kind of cool. Like, I did not expect him to just bail. He just jumped right out into the water. That was kind of cool. But other than that, there weren't that many action-packed moments. And then the last point that I want to get into is pertaining to the gore and the kills. The gore and the kills in this movie, like the kills were okay. This movie was pretty bloody, and there were some good practical effects. Like there was a couple instances where people were just totally eaten up by these piranhas, and you'd see all their tendons exposed. They'd have like an eyeball popping out. There were some good practical effects, but I feel like, okay, the first movie came out quite a few years earlier. Since then, special effects and practical effects had gotten better. You can't really tell that much of a difference. I feel like the kills and the gore in the first movie they're almost better than what we got in this movie. Like the kills and the gore in this were okay, but most of the kills with the piranhas, it was just like the piranha flies and bites someone in the neck. It was like pretty much 90% of the time someone just gets bit in the neck and then they like fall in the water. So the kills and the gore, they were okay, but nothing special. So yeah, that's the last little point I wanted to touch on. Now I'm gonna get into my recommendation. So here's the deal, okay? Uh, this franchise, like after Piranha 2, the next movie in the series is a remake. So if you skipped Piranha 2, you could still watch the third film in the franchise and you'd be totally fine. I think I think Piranha 3D is also technically a remake as well. So, but even if it's not, I don't think it has anything to do with this one. So, I would say you could definitely skip this one. Um, it's I don't know. There's just nothing special about it. It's not. It doesn't do anything egregious. It's not like a terrible movie. It's not the most boring thing I've ever watched. But it's just I don't know. There's just nothing really going on. There's nothing really special about it. It could have been a lot more fun than it was, and it's just like um, way inferior than the first one. So like the first one had a lot of charm. I don't know, there was just something about the first one. It had that like summer feel. It it was like there were some campy elements. There was some charm to it. Likable characters. This one was just like bland. It was just like whatever. So I would say skip this one. You don't need to watch it. Um, and it's not even really available on streaming, so you're not missing out. So yeah, that's my little recommendation, and I've said everything that I wanted to say about Piranha 2: The Spawning. So I'm gonna head out here. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.